Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I am going to be reacting to this video titled The Fertility Clinic Attacker Was a Far Left Radical, so let's get into it.
So ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about this fertility clinic bombing situation where a far left radical did something terrible, which is pretty much par for the course for that certain ideology. The media has sort of pushed this under the rug and isn't really talking about it, but I wanted to go over this video from 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐊𝐒 because I think it's very interesting. Because 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐊𝐒 spends the first part of the clip that we're talking about trying to distance this guy from the left and making sort of an accusation that people like myself who objectively, observably see that this guy is a leftist are going to use it to say that he's a leftist. Like, we're going to use it. Very, very interesting. And so, without further ado, let's let him speak in some words, and then I'll articulate my perspective afterwards.
A lot of people that would use this as like a, this is something, again, this is what makes me. There's a lot of people that would use this as like a, like any sort of, like, I'm trying to think of like the best way to say it. They would use this as a point where they could say, oh, look at leftism, like that people are like leftists and they're bad, etc. I don't...
Yeah. Well, first of all, leftism is bad. The left is...
I'm not going to say a certain group of people are bad just because of ideas they hold, unless it like goes way out of proportion. But if like the average person has moderate views which might lean towards egalitarianism or socialism, then as long as it doesn't go too far, it's not a huge issue.
It's bad. Their ideas are bad. The way that they enact.
That doesn't mean that I think it's fine if there's a plenty of them. Well, it is, but like what I'm basically trying to say is it'll be way more preferable if, like, of course, there were more classical liberals than like mega welfare statist socialists.
Is bad. They can't argue them. We've seen this over the past decade and a half, that everything that the left has touched has disintegrated and turned to shit. I mean, it's a much longer time than a decade and a half. I mean, really, it's been going on for the past 60 years. But the fact is that to try to distance the left from the people that they create with their terrible ideas, they're really anti-human agenda. Like, a lot of the stuff that they promote, a lot of the stuff that they do is just genuinely evil and terrible. And all based around hedonism.
I think that goes for all groups, not what you would call leftists, and like explicitly and specifically.
And self-worship and self-glorification, this sort of narcissistic mindset. So, I don't think it's people jumping at this thing or, we're pouncing on it. No, I think it's just observing something that we see to be true. Humans are pattern recognition machines. And we notice that the left tends to be the party of violence, of terrorism, and so on. We see that this happens to be a trend. And 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐊𝐒 comes along and says, no, don't notice the trend. Completely ignore the trend. In fact, you're crazy if you notice the trend. No, this guy is a far leftist. He is a product of the left, and they're not.
I think it is possible to abide by some philosophies, or at least believe in some, and not be considered on the political left wing or right wing. As much as I hate having to use the left-right spectrum, it would be much nicer if the people stopped using the left-right spectrum, but unfortunately it's here to stay for the foreseeable future.
Mentality.
Think this person is a leftist.
Also, in this case, where the attacker was a pro-mortalist, that doesn't really align with politics, really. It's more of like a worldview thing rather than like what kind of policies you want to be implemented with force of government.
One more time.
like that people are like leftists and they're bad, etc. I don't think this person is a leftist. I think this person is just an
I agree with Asmongold.
extreme radical, and they're so
An extreme radical on the left.
Okay, but answer me this. What puts him on the left, according to you? For me, it's not really so much political. As I said, it's more philosophical and based on his worldviews rather than his thoughts on government.
An extreme radical on the left. Yeah. Esmond, do you think that Just Stop Oil is a right-wing group or a left-wing group? Well, I wouldn't really want to classify
The pro-establishment.
Esmond, these sort of semantics and word games, they don't work because people are too smart. They understand. This guy is a far-left radical. There's no question about it. There's no debate about it. There's no argument about it. You trying to distance him from this left-wing idea, I think if anything, it doesn't add credibility to your argument. I actually think it detracts from your overall trustworthiness and reputation because you're telling lies. That's not true. Everyone knows it's not true. There's nobody who's confused by it. There's nobody who stops going, well, yeah, this guy isn't a leftist. No, he obviously is. He was radicalized by left-wing politics. Even in your own thing, you call him a...
And where has this political motivation come from? There, again, I don't think there's really much of an answer to that.
Redditor. What are Redditors known for? They're left-wing radicals.
Maybe a large portion of them are, but it's unfair to label all Redditors as radicals on one part of the political spectrum.
so far down the rabbit hole of radicalism and extremism. Yeah, it's like playing God. Yeah, exactly, right? I don't think you can blame this on left-wing ideology.
Sure you can. I just did. It fits.
But do your criticisms hold up, or are they completely baseless?
I think this person, if it was up to them, they'd kill everybody, right? And so I feel like that's not really playing much of a side, is it? So yeah. And so you see Alyssa Mercante still shit-talking you on Twitter. Yeah, I did see that. We'll talk about that later on. But yeah, so this is who the shooter is, and again, pretty much just another piece of shit. Apparently, did they catch him? Did they get him? Or oh, he killed himself. Oh, okay, well that's... Wow, what a...
A 25-year-old self-described as a pro-moralist. Who are the pro-moralists? Who are the pro-moralists, Asmongold? Who are they? Would that be the Karens, the far-left radical Karens that try to micromanage everything that you do? A pro-moralist? The people that try to radicalize everything into a far-left framework, and that if you don't go with that, then you are doing something wrong?
How sad. Wow, that's so sad. And anyway, so it was a dead body? Yeah, I guess so. And he injured for the... Wait a minute. Oh my god, what a retard. Okay, so let me get this straight. So this guy goes and he wants to kill everybody, and the only thing he manages to do is kill himself?
Well, pro-mortalist, I did search up what the term meant before this video, and I think it means something along the lines of it's better to be dead or to have never existed rather than to be alive. I think it's more of an individualist take than a worldview take, but I think in a way that's what he wanted, because I think if he killed himself in his own blast, I think that he wanted to kill himself and as an extension kill people around him, or at least destroy them, whatever they have in IVF labs. I'm not too sure, to be honest.
What an idiot! What a fucking moron!
Alright. So, as some of you know, I like Asmongold. I do. He injured 4 people. He destroyed the bus. I mean, we can see from some of the pictures the damage that he did. I mean, let's go back a little bit.
Pretty much just another piece of shit.
Like, look at it. So is he sitting here cackling to, oh, this loser, he only did it himself? No, he did damage. He injured 4 people, and he did irreparable damage. Like, look, well, not irreparable, but you understand what I mean. Like, he did serious damage. And Asmongold, I don't think he's being callous. I understand he's using this to mock this guy. Like, oh, you only did this. But this is serious. And this is the radicalism of the left. This is why I think holding people like Hassan. I'm not saying that Hassan is responsible for this guy. You know, that was another person, Gavin Long. Look that up with the Young Turks. But no, I think that this is what the left produces. These people.
This is a fringe individual with fringe beliefs. It's unfair to label a large group of people as this or that because one person went out and did something, because they can very easily do the exact same thing back to you, and then you realise it's unfair. Or you say it's like it doesn't relate to you at all or something when it happens to you. But to be honest, I think all sides do that. I think all sides probably attack others and defend their own side.
People that are self-worshipping pro-moralists that have this idea that they are...
I don't think he worshipped himself. I think he just wanted to carry out this attack as a terrorist attack.
They are the be-all and end-all. There is no...
Like, I think he wanted to die. I think he knew that people would hate him after he did this, but, like, he just, like, wanted to do this and he, in a way of expressing his hatred for humanity, and he just, like, said, okay, if I'm going to kill myself, I want to do it in this manner, which of course I completely condemn, just like any other regular person.
God, if there's a God, then you have somebody else to, report to. You have somebody else to keep you accountable.
Plenty of people who believe in God don't really hold themselves accountable to this God, even if they believe in it, because there's plenty of people who have started wars and killed thousands, millions of people, and they believed in God.
These people think that, no, they are the only ones. They are godless, they are degenerate, and they think that doing stuff like this...
I will tell you now, most atheists or secular people, agnostics, whatever, would most definitely oppose this attack and condemn it for the atrocity that it was.
It's acceptable because if they are the ultimate God, they are the ultimate being, then they're going to make this decision and they're just going to enact it out. And this is part of leftism. This is part of the cult. And why so many people despise it. It is a despicable, sinful, hateful ideology.
Apparently, did they catch him? Wait a minute. Darn. Okay, so let me get this straight. So this guy goes, and he wants to kill everybody, and the only thing he manages to do is kill himself? What an idiot! What a fucking moron! Yes, look at this! Yeah, he killed someone? Yes, but he could have done that without blowing up the whole thing and doing all this like, Jesus, couldn't have worked better? Well, for everybody else, it sure did. You know what you say, guys, this is natural selection, and this guy selected himself. And, thank God for that. Wow, this is a yes, bro, this is like rolling a 1 in D&D. It's sad, man. It's really sad. But there we go. To be honest, he did hate life. Yeah, but like under that logic, wouldn't you try to kill as many people as possible, right? I mean, that's I don't know. That's how I like. I mean, if you don't like people being alive and you don't like life, wouldn't it be a good idea to try? he tried, but like it's the worst. But like you gotta admit, right? That's a bad attempt. That's like trying to break a rock in half with your head. Like, yeah, you tried, but you dumb for trying it that way. And so, yeah, he's being ironic, I guess so. Yeah, a -1 kill streak, bro. This guy own gold his own manifesto. And so, wow. Oh, what a fucking retard. But, anyway, so yeah. And, yeah, -1, KD at -1. And, wow. He wanted to destroy hundreds of embryos at the clinic, none were harmed. Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, what a fucking idiot. But it's good that people like this clean themselves out of the gene pool, I think. And he did everybody...
I don't think this is much of a genetic thing. I think it's more of a... any regular two people can have a child, and that child ends out this way because of life experiences, how they think, their personality, all that, who they talk to, everything basically. And that basically forms their worldview, and based off their worldview it depends on how they act. It basically tells them how to act in the world.
A favor. It's a shame for the property damage. It's a shame for... I'm sure people...
Yeah, it's a shame for everyone, I guess. I don't see how it's not a shame for someone.
His family, they're not responsible for this. I feel bad for them. But, you know, the people that got injured, that sucks. But, you know, the guy getting killed, you know, I think this is really a Rip Bozo situation.
I agree with that. So it's interesting. It's like, for Asmongold, yeah, I agree with this conclusion completely. I agree with the end part of it. I just disagree with his views on leftism and trying to distance it because this guy was a leftist. This guy was absolutely a leftist, and we see this sort of radical behavior from people on the left all the time. You know, maybe it doesn't manifest like this, but it could be, you know, the Just Stop Oil, it could be the Tesla bombings. I mean, like, the left does this so often that I think people will become desensitized to it in a way. And so for me, trying to distance this guy or distance any of these people from the left is crazy.
The Ripbo, and I think the world's a better place. I do. I think it is. This is a crazy psychopath, and he was fortunately stupid and incompetent enough to only manage to kill himself in his manifesto of destroying the entire world. So wow.
Yeah. So that's sort of my thing with Asmongold is I do like him. I think that he. Some people will say, oh, you hate him or you love him. But for me, it's like, when Asmongold says something that's stupid or that's wrong, I'll say that that's stupid and wrong. When Asmongold says something that's right, I'll say...
I will say that it's possible for basically everyone, regardless of how smart or how high your IQ is, that you can say smart things and you can say dumb things. That applies to everyone, basically.
And that it's right. It's really that simple. It's not about hating somebody or being against somebody. It's just, I call it as I see it. And the thing that's interesting is that the content creator space, to delve into a little bit of a different topic, the content creator space is filled with people that are looking to either extract resources from your name, like with rage bait, clickbait, anger, Asmongold's the worst ever, or to kiss his ass, to ingratiate himself, to try to get on his stream, to try to, hey, Asmongold, notice me, Asmon, I want to collab with you, Asmon, and make my career. Like, there are one of two things, and for me, I'm neither. I don't want to collab with Asmongold. He could never mention my channel, and I'd be perfectly fine with that. I'd be perfectly happy with that. But I'm not looking to rage bait off of him. I'm not looking to glaze him. I just want to call it the way that I see it for everyone, and Asmon is no different. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this left-wing radical activist freak basically, you know, did a bunch of damage, hurt some people, and took himself out. So
I'm glad he, as I said before, I'm glad he didn't hurt anyone or cause more damage than he did. But I think his main goal above all else was to just die, I guess. like, I don't think there's much more to say than that. He wanted to die, and I think, like, whatever happened, but, like, he probably achieved his main goal. From his perspective, of course.
In the end, it's not a happy ending, but it would have been worse if he had taken out anyone else.
Yeah. And I think that's the end of the video, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.